Hey viewers, I'm Sarah Self-Walbrick, the news director at the Hub at TTU. In this installment of our sit-down interview with Chancellor Robert Duncan, we're going to talk about how he's liked his position as Chancellor so far. So you've been in the Chancellor's office for about 5 months now. How's it going so far?
Well, so far so good. There are a lot of things that you learn. One of the things that I was advised when I first started, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so I think you have to be very careful when you move into an institution as large as this, with as many complicated moving parts, to advance issues very carefully and methodically. And so we're doing that. We'll start looking at we are looking at different types of campaigns that we would, or initiatives that we want to do with regard to fundraising. One thing that I'm very interested in is growing the endowments of each of the 4 components. The endowment is one of the metrics that's most important to evaluate the quality and maturity of an institution. Plus, it's the gift that keeps on giving. If it's a scholarship endowment, then that endowment will remain and will grow and will provide scholarships forever, in perpetuity. The same for faculty type endowments, where we try to endow chairs, or we give departments an endowment where they can use those funds to reward and retain and attract new faculty. And so if you look at all of the major the AAU-like institutions, the endowment is in my view, one of the most important metrics. It also means that others are willing to invest. It's a good indicator of what people are trying to do. And fortunately for our system, the 4 components, Texas Tech University, Angelo State, the Health Science Center in Lubbock, and the Health Science Center in El Paso, our total endowment is over $1 billion.
Wow.
And so whenever you reach the $1 billion level, then your credibility goes way up in the real world, in the outside world, where you can attract attract good faculty and good students, as well as additional research opportunities to be able to expand that area of your university emphasis. So that'll be a real priority for us as we go through this next few years. Also, I think we want to run efficiently. One of the things I want to do as CEO of the system is make sure we have controls in place to make sure that our research is of the highest quality, make sure that we are using our endowments to the maximum effect, and those sorts of goals. And so what I have found is that we're doing that now. We've inherited a really good ship here. The university operates in a very efficient way, and we're getting the best out of all of our dollars, and we need to continue that. And so I'm excited about the opportunity to move us to the next level from where we're starting today.
That's great. Sounds like you have a great plan. Texas Tech has recently been ranked fairly high on some different publications lists. The business school has received a lot of press here lately and stuff like that. Why do you think Tech is finally getting that recognition? We're
maturing now. And I start off in the beginning, the first 90 days, I would start every speech by saying that the creation of the chancellor's position and the recognition that we are now a system in 1996 was the game changer for Texas Tech. And if you look at what has happened since that time, and I always talk about John Montford came in as the first chancellor and said, and we'd never had a campaign of over $50 or $60 million. And he comes in and says, hey, we're going to do $500 million. Yeah. Nobody believed he could do it. We didn't even believe in ourselves at that time. Montford accomplished that, and that made us believe in ourselves. And so we go to the next level, and here comes Kent Hance. And Kent Hance brings the endowment, and he says we're going to have, or brings the campaign in and says we're going to do $1 billion. And we do that, and that's evidence that others now believe in us.
Exactly.
And so we've come full circle, and in my view, that's the sign that we're a mature institution, a mature system. And so the next goal is for us to advance to the next levels, and that's better endowment, more research, more PhDs, and for Texas Tech University to be more AAU-like, or Association of American Universities-like. That's the highest rung that you can get. And we're going to do those sorts of things. We're going to meet those metrics, and I think be competitive with any university in the country.
Along with that, we have also had some bad press here lately with various different issues within the university. Has that made it a little more difficult to transition into this position?
Well, when I got into this office, it's, you say, well, avoid the distractions, but this is one that I think we really need to take care of, and it's an issue that really bothers me. I'm a member of a fraternity, and I'm proud to be a member of that fraternity, but again, we have to make sure that the organizations are achieving the right goals and not getting off track. Mm-hmm. We've got to make adjustments, and I think the thing about it is it's unfortunate that we've received national press because we're not alone.
Oh yeah, exactly.
This is an epidemic among all of higher education for a lot of reasons. And that doesn't mean it can be acceptable, and that's why we decided, Dr. Nellis and I decided to put together a task force to make recommendations for changes so that we can change the culture. The Greek organizations have been really important for Texas Tech. If you look at a lot of the leadership that we've had, a lot of our alumni that have been very supportive and loyal to the university have been very successful nationally and internationally. We're all members of some sort of a Greek organization, not all, but many were members of a Greek organization. Mm-hmm. And so we don't want to lose that value that was that we've enjoyed over the years. So I think the goal of this task force will be what adjustments can we make to get us back to the value systems that those organizations were created to embrace. And I think that that'll be good. But it's not just fraternities and sororities too. You can look at that. That's a universe of students that you can basically get your hands around. But it's all students. We have these alcohol culture issues in all universities that where there are abusive. Those are abusive cultures, and whatever we can do to change that. A young person, when a parent brings their student to Texas Tech as a freshman, they should have confidence that we're going to do the best we can to make sure they're safe. And that's part of what we're trying to do with this task force. But I think you'll see even larger sorts of efforts to make sure we're handling these issues and that we're addressing them to provide a safe environment for our kids to go to school.
What are some of your favorite things so far about being chancellor?
Well, it's a fun meeting with students. Mm-hmm. Is really fun, and I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot. I've enjoyed meeting with our faculty and our deans, and we are fortunate to have very strong deans at Texas Tech University. Yeah. Strong presidents at all of our institutions. Strong our infrastructure, our human infrastructure in the system is very strong right now, and I've enjoyed getting to see these people. But what's more important is seeing the passion they have for teaching. And for dealing with students, whether it doesn't matter whether it's in the health science center arena or in the general academic arena. There's just a high passion for teaching and making sure we're producing the best students. So that's fun. I love the athletic part of this. There's a lot of great things going on athletically here. We're building a football team, and I have a lot of confidence in those guys are going to do well. I enjoy our coaches. And I enjoy Tubby Smith and his program, and Candace Whitaker and what they're going to do, and our baseball program. We're seeing success there, but we're seeing good kids in those programs, and are good young men, and I don't like the word kid, good young men and good young women in those programs. And that's really encouraging to me that we have a quality, high character program.
If you were the sole person making decisions at Texas Tech, no president? Close enough, right? No President Nellis, no Board of Regents, just you. What are some changes or accomplishments you would like to make?
Well, that's a good question. I would really like to solve this alcohol cultural issue problem, because I think it's the number one distraction for any student. It is the student's number one enemy. If you look at safety, you look at their ability to focus and succeed in school, and so the alcohol culture and thing. If I could change that on my own, I think it'd take a magic wand. But I was a student, and I understand. Yeah. I get there, but at some point in time, the culture really, I think students have to understand that it is a life changer, and it can happen in a minute. And so we have to be, I would love to see kids, students, young adults overcome the temptations that lead that way.
It looks like our goal of reaching 40,000 students by 2020 looks like we may meet that a little sooner than expected, with over 35,000 students enrolled this semester. How is Texas Tech preparing for that, both structurally with the different buildings being built, parking may become an issue, and also dealing with faculty members and stuff like that?
Well, I think it's always, we have to continuously examine our resources, and we're doing that right now. We're looking at that particular goal in particular, and understanding how we better manage getting there. And that means whether it means evaluation of our housing situation, evaluation of our student-faculty ratios, our standards, our ACT and SAT scores as they're coming in, and then basically college by college you have to look at that. And so we're in the process of doing that. Obviously, I think if we will hopefully have some ideas about how we're going to go about that pretty quick. But the goal of 40,000, I don't think you stop getting there. I think we're going to be there. And so the question is, let's make sure we have the resources. Let's make sure that we don't sacrifice in standards as we get there.
What would you like to see in Texas Tech's future?
I'd like to see the Texas Tech University be as close to AAU-like as we can get, and be invited to be a member of that organization at some point in time. I think that's a good goal. The metrics that you use to get there improve the quality of your education and research. I'd like for our health science centers to continue doing what they're doing. We're producing outstanding healthcare workers for not only just this region but for the country. But they can improve on their research and expand in their research opportunities, and that's a neat deal. Angelo State University I believe, needs to grow, and they're doing that, and they're doing that and raising their standards. So I think that's a really key thing, to get all of our components doing what they do best better, and we're going to hopefully help them achieve that.
What would you like Texas Tech students to know about you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a normal guy. And, from Vernon, Texas. I never thought I'd be in this position, but I think I hope that they would know that I'm approachable and that I want to get it right.